Jiu-Jitsu.
All right, welcome to season 2 of the Jiu-Jitsu podcast. This is our first show off the break, and you are our first show of season 2. We are here with Dr. Ryan Engelhardt at Whole Health Chiropractic. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for coming, guys.
We appreciate it. So today we're just going to talk with Dr. Ryan and just get the rundown of what happens, the magic of health and restorative medicine.
Wellness.
Yeah, wellness. So, as I said, this is Dr. Ryan Engelhardt, Army veteran. So
Yeah.
you worked, what unit were you in?
So I was in 167, that's a 2nd Brigade, 4th ID. I was their medical operations officer, so I was a medical service corps guy. It was a unique opportunity to essentially be the liaison between combatant commanders and medicine, and back and forth. And that was kind of a really, really treasured experience because, I had, my line of platoon medics and, got to kind of task them out and got to interact with almost every single person in the battalion, many of whom I still stay in touch with.
Nice. All right, and you deployed in OIF 08-09.
Yep. So
Okay.
went to Kirkuk in Mosul. I'll tell you, head down there. So the Bronze Star, the reason that I received the Bronze Star from that is we held a brigade battle space level of area with a battalion level of medical assets. And so we came up with some creative means of essentially kind of spreading out our guys in order to be able to do that.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you're awarded for that. Very
Yeah.
nice. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Those of you that don't know, maybe some of your gamers or maybe some jiu-jitsu people that aren't military savvy, the difference in a brigade size element and a battalion size element is significant. We're talking maybe anywhere from a couple hundred to maybe almost 1,000 in difference. So that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So nice. You didn't stop there. You got through not 1 but 3 degrees.
Yep. So prior to getting my commission, I was actually enlisted. I was actually a chaplain assistant when I started out.
Nice.
So I did the Green and Gold program. I received my bachelor's in dietetics from North Dakota State, and they also have a Division I wrestling program. I wrestled for them for 5 years.
Nice.
And went on to receive a master's in sports injury management and a doctorate in chiropractic.
That's awesome. Yeah, very nice. And you also train jiu-jitsu.
Yep. So I'm a blue belt under Ben Westrich over at Warrior Fitness Center.
Okay. Yeah, I've been there, trained with Professor Westrich. Just the amount of knowledge, I was trying to tell these guys, the amount of knowledge that guy has, not just on jiu-jitsu, but on everything overall. Like every time I go in there, I learn not just about jiu-jitsu, but also like life, business strategies. If I have an opinion, I'm going to get the facts about that opinion from Professor Westrich.
Yeah, he may be probably hands down maybe top 5, top 3 smartest people I've ever met in my life.
Definitely agree on that. Also, got to my niece and I did one of Natalie's kickboxing classes.
Yeah.
When I tell you that I was not able to keep up, I was not able to keep up. Like her classes are top tier. Like I did MMA for a while, and I was not like. She was like, "What are you doing with that kick?" And I was just like, I'm sorry. My niece loved it though, so she definitely wants to go back. If you guys would like more information on them, check them out. Warrior Fitness on Fitness Center on Facebook. They are located at 3711 Drennan Road. Check them out.
Yeah.
All right. So, how did you go from the doctorate to right here in Whole Health Chiropractic?
Right. So coming from medical service, I was not a provider. I worked with providers. I was more of an administrator and a coordinator, working with, combatant commanders and kind of making sense of medicine to people in combat, making sense of combat to people in medicine. And with that, like a lot of people got to call me doc, because, they associated me with medicine, but I wasn't a doc. And I wanted to be. And I wanted something that was more hands-on. And for myself, I had some fairly powerful experiences with chiropractic. loved running, loved fitness, and hurt myself in Iraq, and I was hardly able to get around. Happened to stop by my chiropractor's office when I was on leave, and I got my hip adjusted and felt phenomenal.
Yeah.
And just looking at, just the joy and just how great it felt to be in that office and, making other people feel good, I was like, man, that's what I want to do. I want to be able to do that. And the more I understood about chiropractic, the more I really kind of agreed with a lot of its philosophy. Essentially that, whatever your core philosophy is, be it, if you believe God made us or if nature made us, a lot of intelligence coalesced together to put our bodies together. They're pretty smart and they're pretty intuitive. And if we can remove interferences, from the way that the body's supposed to function optimally, then the body's going to be able to heal issues usually a lot better than we do.
Yeah.
And for a lot of us that were in, the military and experiencing the way that the military handled medicine, we're really good at red line medicine, really good at, saving life, limb, or eyesight. But as far as wellness, where do we take you after we've saved your life? How do we improve your life? And we don't do a great job of that.
Yeah.
And so, I chose to separate from the military and get the doctorate so I could get out and, be a doctorate really kind of more in the Latin term, which is a doctor is more of an educator.
Yeah.
Educating on just how cool our bodies are, and just making little changes here and there so that our bodies can function, better than we originally perceived them to.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was like,
I
oh,
feel
whoa,
enlightened.
I'm like, wait a minute,
Yeah,
that's,
super enlightened.
that's a whole different chain
No, you're
of
gonna say after this.
thinking
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
the military doesn't give you.
Right.
The military is like readiness.
Right.
Whatever we can do to get you ready, not what can keep you there or
Right.
help you, past that point of your green.
Well, technically, that's what it is. Unfortunately, for a lot of the military, it's very reactive. So all of Western medicine, to include Army medicine, is allopathic, meaning that we're addressing symptoms.
Yes.
So we have a symptom, I reduce that symptom, we're healthy. And so when we're dealing with life, limb, and eyesight, like I'm bleeding out, reduce that symptom. Like that's effective, that's good medicine. But if we're looking at a person that doesn't have any symptoms, and we're going, oh man, you're good. Well man, I'm not good. Like what if I have stage 1 cancer, maybe I've got HIV, different things like that, I don't feel that right away. And so a lot of times it's these subtle dysfunctions, misalignments in the spine that create noise in the nervous system that discoordinate movement. So maybe my glute med isn't firing as much as it should. Now my knee is not tracking quite the way that I do. And so when I shoot, I end up spraining my MCL. And so being able to get that neurological system processing the way that we want it to, free from any interference, the body's gonna function a lot better. Now we can reteach movements.
Yeah.
Now we can do things more functionally, and now we get less injury. Because that's readiness. Readiness is resilience. I can't predict what stresses that your body's going to encounter. What I can do is I can make you more resilient to them.
Wow.
Which is another thing that's kind of like jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu is not always about I'm going to be able to go out and choke anyone out.
Exactly.
I like the philosophy of jiu-jitsu that's freedom through control.
Yeah.
I control my limbs so that I have freedom. I can control your limbs so that I have freedom. Freedom to do what? It's up to me.
Yeah.
I'm just like, wow, science. I'm like, dude.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
All right. Let's see. So, I guess the big question is for all our viewers and listeners is, once they're like, hey, I think this is the right path for me, how do they get in and see you?
Right. So, they can give us a call at 719-301-7450. They can send us an email at office@wholehealthsprings.com. They can send us a private message on Facebook by liking our Facebook page and sending it that way. And then what we do is we have them come in and we do some different assessments to find out, hey, is your body functioning optimally? And if it's not, we address those different issues, we get your body adjusted and develop a unique plan of care that matches your individual needs.
Specifically tailored for that individual.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Quick
Alright.
question on that one. Is it myth or is it facts, like your pre-existing injuries, is it good or bad for chiropractic work? So say you blow out your knee completely or something like that and
Right.
you're just scared of movement or, damaging it further, is chiropractic work gonna be better or should you leave it alone? Like tips and tricks on that?
So that's a great question. So for pre-existing injuries, things like that, any injury that the body has, we have something that's called proprioceptive deficit. And proprioceptive deficit means our body's internal mapping of how the body works is impaired. Like literally any injury has that. And so including, the spinal misalignment that I'm adjusting. So when I address that, I'm improving the body's overall deficit in proprioception. And so your body's ability to communicate is improved. The additional thing to remember is that motion is lotion. And so the more that we understand about pain science, the more that we learn that the body essentially has two different filing cabinets. We have safe and unsafe. And so when the body perceives something to be unsafe, what does it do?
Ouch.
Let you know.
Exactly, it lets you know. And so a lot of times what happens is that pain that the body or the movement that the body considers or perceives to be unsafe, it gets signals with pain or nociception. And, over time, that process becomes more centralized, meaning that there's no longer a physiological threat. In fact, it's actually more of a learned thing. It's called the centralization of pain theory.
Yeah, no pressure though.
Nice.
Okay, so it is good for injuries, like.
Yeah, sorry, that was
I'm sorry, I'm gonna
it's
break it
kind
up
of
like
a
for
roundabout.
me, cause I'm, like, getting it fixed or
Right.
realigned or making
Yeah,
that
so
nervous
getting the
system flow.
spine, getting the quality of the spine improved is really about improving the primary method of communication for the body, which is the nervous system.
Got it.
We
So,
improve that level of communication, body does better.
so it's never a no to not go into a chiropractor with some kind of
As long
injury.
as we assess for, safety, stability, and subluxation, if we're looking for those 3 S's, you're in luck. I mean, you're gonna be well taken care of.
I had to ask that, that was a fear of mine, like, oh man, I hurt this, but I don't wanna go to the chiropractor because they pop it and it makes it worse or something, so I had to get that out there.
Yep.
All right. So you have a patient, so
Yeah.
we take a quick break and then
Take a
we'll
quick
pick it
break.
back up.
All right, sounds great,
All
Anthony.
right, we'll see you in a few minutes. All right, we are back with Dr. Ryan Engelhardt at Whole Health Chiropractic. He's got to keep working. He's got
Yeah.
patients to help, so we took a quick break, and now we're back. So before we took the break, we kind of explained how you get into the office.
Mhm.
Now we're gonna get into what kind of ways can your patients pay?
So really all major forms of payment, like credit cards, cash. I've never accepted animal skins, but I guess maybe I'm not opposed to that. If somebody's got some pelts lined up somewhere, like they want to do kind of a trade like that, tell them, see, they want to drop off some elk jerky, that'll definitely work.
Barter system?
Yeah.
So currently, saw something on Facebook through Army Times that, they're working to get TRICARE outsourced
Mhm.
through some of the chiropractic. So that's a future, but is there a way for our veterans who are already out to
Yeah.
come see you?
So, it's a pretty easy 3-step process. I mean, you talk to your primary care manager through the VA, and you tell them, I want to see a chiropractor. Tri-West will give you a call. When they give you a call, say you want to see Dr. Ryan Engelhardt at Whole Health Chiropractic, they'll look us up in the system and say like, yep, he's here. They'll call us. We'll make the appointment directly with us. They let you know about the appointment, and then we're good to go. It's a pretty simple process.
That's pretty nice. So, well, there you go, man.
Yeah, right, that's all I gotta do.
All right. Next, so being that Colorado Springs is such a athlete-heavy,
Mhm.
military-heavy, 5 military bases, so many athletes, both combat sports, the Olympians, future Olympians, bunch of high schools. What are some common practices that say we could do just changing habits that can prolong spinal health or wellness?
Right. So, I mean, there's a couple of things that I think people just generally need to consider. I mean, obviously, you know, this is the Nerd Jitsu podcast. One of the things I'm a huge advocate of is Jiu-Jitsu. I think it's a great means of being able to kind of gain more kinesthetic awareness of your body, so more body awareness. One of the reasons, you know, I love, you know, Professor Ben's, you know, philosophy about Jiu-Jitsu is it really starts a lot at maintaining posture. You know, and so like, how do we maintain posture? What does that look like? How do I not let somebody break my posture down? And creating that stable frame essentially is one of those things that allows me control that essentially begats freedom.
Exactly.
You know, we talk about proprioceptive deficit being one of the kind of the major things that we see with injuries. You know, the more kinesthetic awareness that we gain, the better we are for resilience against other types of injuries. And so if we can work on core stability, if we can work on, you know, mobility concepts, things like that, so that we can have our bodies moving more functionally, moving better, and then we're learning to create stability within those frameworks, then I mean, a person is just going to be that much more resilient against injury. Outside of like, you know, a regular jiu-jitsu practice or combatives or wrestling, I think that, you know, if you're looking for 3 different exercises that you can do to improve your overall stability, go and Google Stu McGill's Big 3. Stu McGill is the leading back pain researcher out of Waterloo University up in Canada. He's got 3 different exercises: a core, bridge, side bridge, and then trunk squeeze. Essentially, it's like kind of like a crunch that provide 3-dimensional core stability that we build on. So we get that sequencing, we get that activation going. It's not about like getting 6-pack abs and, you know, lifting 1,000,000 pounds. It's more about sequencing those muscles so that the body can have the appropriate mobility that it needs, you know, in the extremities that extend out from the core.
Okay. Solid. All right. So at this time, we'll go ahead and if whatever plug you'd like to say to the audience about your business or you know your anything that you want to go ahead and shoot. This your time, and then we'll get into the nerd section.
All right, cool. All right, so I wanted to throw out there, we got a great Facebook special right now. It's $21, and for $21, you can get a exam, so a doctor's examination and neurological scan, and in addition to that, you can get a treatment. And so it's a great introductory offer for a lot of people that want to be able to understand, you know, more about what chiropractic care is and how it can benefit them.
Nice. Well, I guess Annis, I know what we're doing.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, here's $63.
Yeah, no problem. All right, we need to take a break?
No.
All right, so for our nerd section, you and I kind of messaged a little bit.
Yeah.
So you're a fan of M. Night Shyamalan.
Huge fan of M. Night Shyamalan.
What is your favorite movie so far of his?
Favorite movie so far? It's gotta be probably Signs.
Yeah. What? Oh man, I was going for Split. I was like, man, that was.
Split was excellent. I mean, you know, Unbroken or not Unbroken, Unbreakable. Phenomenal films. Phenomenal films. Sixth Sense. I mean, there's elements about that, and I was trying to think last night. So I was like, what? It kind of puts you on the spot when you're like, what's your favorite like sci-fi favorite films?
Like, there's such so many.
A paralyzing question because you go, man, like
there's a lot.
Just
there's
one.
so many.
Yeah,
Just one.
just one.
Like this, and I love different elements that show just the beauty of and tenacity of the human spirit, and you know, in just kind of these little moments that are achingly beautiful, like in The Sixth Sense when there's that scene at the end with his mom, because I mean the movie's really about the relationship of like, how is this mom going to you know, that has, you know, these difficulties. So, you know, a parent for anybody with special needs, especially if they're doing it on their own, and it's so tough.
Yeah.
And at the end, when they're in the car, and he says, like, you know, I see, you know, mom, or your mom all the time, or grandma all the time, and she's moving this pin. And she wanted me to say to you, all the time. And her mom is crying, like, what did she say, Mom? And she says, like, I asked her if she's proud of me. Like, that's one of, like, you know, kind of goosebump raising things. And the reason that, you know, I pick Signs over, you know, Split and Unbreakable and Sixth Sense, is because I think that was probably the most real interpretation for Mel Gibson, what Mel Gibson was going through kind of at that time in his life. I mean, the guy screwed up a number of times, you know, but I mean, a lot of us screw up a lot. A lot of us do awful things. And, I mean, this is a guy that you see, I mean, he's a Christian, and he makes this movie about, like, God, and his life literally blows up. You know, I think I could see that being like a really frustrating thing. You know, like, here I did this thing, like, I'm supposed to do this thing for God, and all of a sudden, like, just kind of blows up in my face, and all of a sudden, like, now everyone, like, looks at me like I'm this terrible person. I'm so frustrated. And you see that in Signs. You see a guy that's super frustrated. And at one point when he's sitting there with Kieran Culkin, and he's trying to get, like, his body to take in that asthma medication, and he just looks there and he just says, I hate you so much. That was probably the most real moment I've seen in any movie.
That's great.
Yeah, when you break it down like that, I guess Split doesn't seem so.
I'm still comparing it to Village, though.
Yeah.
There was a lot of good stuff in the Village.
There was a lot of good stuff in Village.
Yeah, especially the twist on it too, for the monster actually.
Well, I
being
think
people.
I think that's M. Night's go-to thing, and that's what makes his movies successful. The one that didn't have that twist, in my opinion, was his worst one, The Last Airbender. There was
we were
no
talking
twist.
about-
There was no twist at all. He pretty much copy and pasted the cartoon and switched up the races a little bit and threw it together. It was a little rough.
There was that one part in there when they go to the gods and the ice people up north, and the two gods are swimming around, and then the Fire Nation comes and kills the gods. Like, that was part of it, the connection between the fish or the gods and them. Remember that part?
Yeah, but
That was like the only semblance of what his movies were before that.
but that was straight from the show as well. Like there was no real
Like creative twist.
Yeah, there's no real creative twist. There was no. It was just how he envisioned that exact show retold.
He watched it 20 minutes before then.
Yeah,
He came up with the
I
script for
didn't
it.
see anything significantly.
I mean, I really look at that as kind of like a frustrating period for M. Night. Because I mean, he went from like some of these like big films, and he started to get panned right around the village. People, I think maybe they just weren't on board with his vision.
Yeah.
You know, because I mean, what came after that? We got Lady in the Water, we got The Happening, you know, we get Avatar.
Yeah.
Red Riding Hood was after that too, wasn't it? Or was that before The Village?
Red Riding Hood.
He made that one. Or was it called Red? With Dakota
Oh
Fanning?
no! The elevator one.
No, it's about it's not about Red Riding Hood, but it was the wolf is supposed to be the demon or something like that in all of you, and then they're in this little village thing. It's based if the village based like that time frame was real instead of it actually being present, it was back then, and then the wolf was.
Yeah. I don't know that one.
Oh, that's pretty. We'll have to watch it. I'll make you guys watch it later. But
Yeah. But yeah, I
So
agree.
it was a dry spell for him, and it's almost kind of like M. Night kind of lost his way. So it's interesting that kind of almost like a twist. You got a sense of that coming back with Devil.
Yeah.
Like, ooh, like he's kind of back onto his game here a little bit. And Split caught everyone off guard.
Yeah, completely. Especially at the end when they're like, when they showed Bruce Willis, people were like,
Well, I heard the music, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this music was really familiar. And all of a sudden, like, I figured out, because I mean, I love scores. You know, I think of some of, you know, my favorite films. I think of like the different music that's associated with it, and I was like, that's that's so familiar. Whereas whenever I heard that, and also it clicked right before I saw Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
I was literally, I didn't see it in theaters, I saw it in my living room.
Yeah.
Like, screaming in my living room.
Yes.
Yeah, it was crazy to get that connection like years after, you know, because I remember being a kid watching Unbreakable with my dad, and then like to not, like I didn't know if it had a continuation, you know, so like for it to just, all of a sudden you think it's its own movie, and then for that to like wrap around, you're like, oh, holy hell, like, you know, or we got a sequence now, and then they came out with Mr. Glass, or Glass, I think it was just called.
Glass.
You know, tie it all
Glass.
together, yeah.
A lot of people didn't like Glass. I thought it was a good close for the chapter. You know, each person had their own movie.
Mhm.
Unbreakable was Bruce Willis. Split was for I can't think of his name.
Patwitha.
What's his name? Oh man,
Yeah.
it was for
Yeah.
Wendell Crumb. You know,
Yeah.
whatever his, I forget his real name. And then the last one was, it was all Samuel Jackson's show. Like
Yeah.
everything, and then in the end, it gave us it was a little twist. You know, like, oh, I did this all so that way everybody could see. And people didn't like it because I think they were expecting MCU type superhero battles.
Yeah.
And that never was what Bruce Willis was.
Right.
Like, in the entirety of Unbreakable, he did, what, like 5 minutes of heroing?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
one when he went to
And-
the house, and that was
Yeah, and
it.
that's it. And it was like, his superhero powers were grounded. It was like, oh, this could really happen, you know?
Right.
So, I thought it was a good ending. I thought it was, you know, I didn't think it was Unbreakable level or Split level, but I think it was good for what it was supposed to be,
Yeah.
the closing chapter.
You know, I was frustrated with it, but I have to say I don't really know any other way that it could have been done.
Yeah.
The interesting thing, if you think about the maturity of the series, so I mean, Unbreakable came out right before X-Men.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I was watching Dark Phoenix last night, and I was just kind of thinking about it again.
Yes.
I had to see. I had to just look
Yeah,
into the darkness myself.
I rented it myself because I was like, you know what, I don't ever want to purchase this, so
I went to theaters.
I rented it. I was like,
Yeah.
But Unbreakable, to like, I mean, it's almost 2 decades.
Yeah.
You know, coming from a time when it was almost impossible to make superhero films. Like in the 80s, like, it kind of felt like they had something. They had something with Superman.
Yeah.
I Believe a Man Can Fly. And, you know, they had like kind of the titular actor with it, with Christopher Reeves.
but even then it faded off. Like,
Yeah.
was it Superman 4? Oh
Yep.
boy.
A movie even Richard Pryor couldn't even save.
Yeah.
Ooh, man, it was rough.
It was bad.
Yeah.
And then, you know, we transitioned that into Batman.
Mhm.
You know, Batman, like, kind of came off like, oh man, like, it's really good. But Michael Keaton as a superhero just didn't really seem to,
Realistic,
yeah.
yeah.
He did a really good job, but it just wasn't super believable.
Joker saved that movie,
Exactly.
100%.
And so
And,
Batman Returns kind of got a little bit weirder. You know, and then they completely went off the deep end by hiring Joel Schumacher.
Yeah, black lights and clowns.
Was George Clooney?
Yep.
Yeah,
No,
that
that
one.
was, I mean, nipples on a bat suit. That was
Yeah.
George Clooney. And so,
Second bad.
for years, we just didn't have, you know, quality superhero hero film, and then we get X-Men, or actually Unbreakable, I think, preceded it.
Yeah.
And like that was one where like, oh man, like this is almost kind of like a believable, like, well, is it real, is it not?
Yeah, like,
You know, like
is he
kind
a
of a
superhero?
believable concept to a superhero. And so, you know, as we've been so spoiled and just kind of, you know, marvelized with everything. Everything is, you know, intergalactic and like special effects like up the waz, you know, but it's not real life. And that's what, you know, in the medium of film was really hard to do for a long period of
Yeah.
time.
Really was.
So, you mind if I touch on something?
Yeah.
Speaking of Batman, so Christopher Nolan, you said you're a big fan as well.
Yes.
So what are your thoughts on the trilogy?
So, man, I mean, Batman Begins, phenomenal.
I thought it was awesome.
Dark Knight, one of the greatest films of all time, to include like superhero films or just regular
His
films.
films, yeah.
And I try and go back and I watch that like the third one.
Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
And it just, I think you take an actor like Tom
Hardy.
Tom Hardy, and you create that weird vocal effect.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's Oscar caliber.
Yeah.
You know, one of the most unbelievable method actors in the world. Don't believe me? Watch what is it?
Bronson.
Bronson.
Yep.
Bronson.
Crazy.
Unreal. Taboo.
Taboo. That, yeah.
On FX, phenomenal.
Yeah, no, and I agree. And believe it or not, that was the version we heard in the film was the edited version of that voice. Like, that was, we can't understand him, let's fix it. So it was actually worse than that before. So I was like, that's rough. But yeah, I think it went from, like, how can we top this with Dark Knight to, I think, one of the most parodied and, mocked villains they had. And then he wasn't even like the main villain, he was just like,
Just a guy.
just a henchman,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
I mean, they did good with, I think, keeping to the story other than that. Like, again, weird choice with the voice, but when you're looking at the last iteration of Bane that was seen on TV as the dude who says monkey work and
Yeah.
Batman and Robin, I guess they did leaps and bounds better.
Right.
So,
Stickman fighting on a piece of
yeah.
paper.
it was a little bit hard to watch the series take that turn.
Yeah. As a
But-
chiropractor, I kind of had issue with a little bit of the way that, like, they were manipulating Bruce Wayne's spine. Like, not necessarily super accurate. Like, I wanted to dispel any myths about exactly what we do here.
Do not do that. No prison. Reset.
Prison adjustments are an issue. Don't think so.
Don't-
Also the knee
don't
thingy
do
where
it.
it just like separates his knee and he magically can run and sprint again, that doesn't work.
No.
No.
We probably get time for like one more, and then I probably get.
Okay, all right. So, far as your jiu-jitsu journey, you're at blue belt.
Mhm.
You're in the danger zone for disappearing.
Exactly.
What are your goals? Are you trying to see it through to black belt?
Yeah, I mean, this is something that I look at as a lifetime activity, and you're gonna have times where you're kind of in and out of it. I loved wrestling so much. I mean, it wasn't even that particularly great at it. Like, I was about a 500 wrestler. I mean, granted at a higher level, the Division I athletics, but it's something that I loved, and I really missed the ability to compete and really test my abilities other than just coaching. And jiu-jitsu really affords me that. There's so much about jiu-jitsu that works so synergistically with my overall health philosophy, my practice philosophy. Are there times, where, I'm nursing an injury and gonna be infrequent, but I'm always coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's not about sending it out to black belt for me. It's like, how long can I do a thing that I love doing?
And that's the goal. I think
Yeah.
that's really important because if you focus on just getting to the belt, so that's what a lot of people quit a blue
Yeah.
belt. They're like, I gotta get past this first belt. And they get to that belt and they're like, well, I kind of did it, I made it. And then that's, I think, where they get off and they're like, you know what, yeah, I made it to blue belt, that was it, And I think that's why once people get to purple belt, they kind of have a higher retention rate. If you don't really look at getting to that first milestone or setting milestones that can be reached easy, like you said,
Yeah.
do it healthy, do it as long as you can.
Right. I mean, and I think, again, a thing that I've heard from Ben, especially as coaching fighters, is, not to be outcome oriented, but to be process oriented. If we love the process, the things that I've been most successful at in life, I fell in love with the process. I fell in love with exercise. Didn't fall in love with like, oh man, I'm in really great shape right now.
Yeah.
I fell in love with the process. I love exercise. I love fitness. I love grappling and wrestling and jiu-jitsu because I love the process of it. And so, if there's a thing that a person is struggling at in life, reorient your priorities in the way that you think about it to fall in love with the process of it, because it's the process of it that eventually is going to see you through success. Because when you love the process, outcomes happen.
Agreed.
Profound stuff.
I think that's a good note to end on.
Yeah.
We appreciate your time. Thank you
Yeah.
for having us. And I know you got a
Yeah.
busy day, so we
Yep.
appreciate it. And we will see you around.
Hopefully,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
I hope
yeah,
you guys-
absolutely.
Yeah,
And
part two.
everybody out there, don't forget to like, subscribe. check them out, Whole Health Chiropractic on Facebook, Instagram as well.
Yeah, it's on Instagram, but I don't know anything about that because I'm an adult. So.
Okay.
Ouch.
Shots fired, I feel targeted.
And thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.
All right, thanks.